Manchester United catapulted to the top of the Premier League table after a goalless draw at Anfield. And as it stands, Leicester are beating Chelsea 2-0, so they will be on the top of the table, but Manchester United have a game in hand on them. Lots to talk about on this episode of the Sideline podcast. Hi, Fionn.
Hey, now how are you today?
I'm not too bad. So, obviously, on Sunday, we saw Man United put it up to Liverpool. Some would say it should have ended a draw. Some would say Liverpool should have won. Manchester United should have won. What way do you think the game should have gone, or do you think a draw was a fair result?
I mean, I think a draw was a fair result. I think the defence held Liverpool very well in the game. I think United nearly had more clear-cut chances that they didn't take well enough. But I think when you watch the game, and like for a lot of the time, Liverpool were all over United. And I think that it came out as a draw is nearly a positive result for United. You know, they managed to get a point out of the game. Even though they did have more chances, they could have managed to win the game, but they didn't. But still, overall, they did well.
So, Manchester United actually only had 34% possession in the end. And Liverpool acquired nearly double the amount of passes in the game and had a better pass accuracy. But Manchester United beat Liverpool 4 shots on target to 3. Obviously, we know the Bruno and Pogba ones, which were clear-cut. We saw Roy Keane talking at full time about Paul Pogba's chance. Should he have put it away?
I mean, you know, I'm not sure. He had a good chance and he took it. It just didn't go well for him. You know, we've seen it happen a few times in the previous games where he's taken a shot. You know, he was letting it in. I think it was Aston Villa. He was passing it a lot, not shooting. He finally did. He had a good chance and it went wide. You know, his shooting hasn't been the best, but it's also been very good. Yeah. But what have your thoughts been on Luke Shaw in that game? Because I thought he was excellent.
Well, yeah, I thought Luke Shaw was outstanding, and he was, you know, defensively and attacking as well. We saw, you know, he's after getting a lot of pace back, and his running is very powerful again, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. Do you think that the signing of Telles has influenced his performances this season?
Yeah, I definitely think it has, because he never really had proper competition for anyone to challenge him for a spot on the team. I mean, you had Brandon Williams, even though he's naturally a right back, he came in while Luke Shaw was injured, and he did play great in some games, but obviously he's young, so he could mess up. But and I just don't think Brandon Williams would challenge Luke Shaw for the position. But now with the signing of Alex Telles, even though his first game or two was good, but since then Alex Telles has been performing fairly poorly. He hasn't been great. But I think it has spurred on Luke Shaw to play better, be more attacking, you know, play well defensively. And overall, we've seen him play so good, influencing the attacking side of the team so much as well.
Another thing, the offsides. It's kind of inevitable not to talk about the offsides in that game. So Liverpool had 1. Manchester United had 8. We know 4 of them in the first half, coming from Marcus Rashford. We had 4 offsides in the first half an hour. I don't really think that's acceptable, to be honest. Obviously, Ollie, we know that Ollie, and you could argue it's a good sign that we're getting forward, but I mean, it's not really acceptable. And again, another pass went straight through to Alisson. Rashford was actually called offside and he was onside. It went through to Alisson, so it was null and void anyway. But I mean, 8 offsides, you know, for a team with as much pace as we have up front, is that really acceptable?
It's not. I mean, it got to the point where he was blatantly offside and still running, calling for the ball, you know. And I don't get how at some points it's more he's timing to the run to what he thinks is the perfect run, but not to how the player with the ball makes it easiest for them to pass it to him. They could have a man on them and he just starts making his run and they can't get that pass off. But at the same time, I think if it's blatantly offside like we've seen, the sidelinesman has to just put his flag up and they call it offside, because it gets to the point at one point where they just wait too long and someone could just get injured out of it. They'll like, obviously you have to see just in case the attack runs out, but sometimes there's not even like a chance there and they're not even calling it until after.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it will be something for Ollie to work on the training ground. But for Liverpool, it's another game without a goal, and the boys up front just aren't firing. You could argue that, obviously Van Dijk and Gomez being out, it's not allowing their midfield press, which they're so famous for. But Salah and Mane and, Firmino was terrible. So as it stands, they've only been able to put away one of their last 6, I suppose, how would you describe it, should score chances, like as in predicted to score chances. So their average was 1 out of 6, or was their last 1 out of 6, I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
But Roberto Firmino, they are suffering from the injuries with Jota being out.
Is he injured?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, because I was going to say, I'm surprised they didn't play Firmino and Jota up front and then play 2 in midfield, but that's why he wasn't playing. And I was wondering, because obviously 2 of their midfielders, Jordan Henderson and Fabinho, were playing as the centre-backs with their defenders being out, Matip, Gomez and Van Dijk. Obviously Matip hasn't fully recovered yet, but he's almost there. So yeah, that didn't help the midfield. They're playing, was it Shaqiri and
Thiago
and Wijnaldum, yeah. And yeah, it's just they never played with each other before, and Shaqiri's normally used to being on the wing. So I think not a lot of it just clicked for them. There's a lot of players in different positions, not in the right place, and it just didn't really work for them.
Man City have a game in hand on Manchester United and are only 2 points behind them. They've won their last 5 league games. With the man in form, John Stones. What are your opinions on him, his recent form?
Oh, he's been excellent. He's been one of the leading men for Man City. He's played greatly. He's scoring goals. He scored 2 goals against, was it Newcastle? And yeah, he's just been playing great. Defensively, him and
Ruben
Diaz, that's his name. The 2 of them have been great together. And just overall, this season, he's been such a great player. Because obviously there was always a lot of speculation. Is he going to leave? Is he good enough for this Manchester City team? And now he's finally showing what he's worth and why he's in that team.
Yes, and it has to be said, out of what I'm seeing here, Chelsea are obviously in huge trouble. Lampard continues to defend Mason Mount while he continues to throw the rest of his players under the bus. For the first time, we see Arsenal in the top 10, sitting in 10th place at the moment. But are Liverpool still title contenders for you?
I definitely think they are. I just think they're going through a dip on form. You can't write them out of it because you never know what Jurgen Klopp can pull through it. But I think the favourites to win it is Manchester City. But there is still a slim chance that United, maybe even Tottenham or Liverpool, could all contend for it. I don't think Leicester can hold the form, even though they're playing great. I just don't see them holding the form like we saw last season. They didn't even manage to hold top 4, when at one point they were like 13 points clear of Manchester United, and they couldn't even hold that, and they lost that. They didn't even get Champions League. So I think it's between United, City and Liverpool, but you can't write Tottenham out of it either.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And obviously Everton still up there, and West Ham sitting in 7th, but that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much, Fionn, for joining me today on this episode of the Sideline podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.